And welcome back to Subculture After Dark. Well, now we've got a mystery guest. I'm in a boardroom in a Melbourne hotel, and there's a mystery guest sitting opposite me. Mystery guest, can you reveal yourself?
Johannes Eckerström from the band Avatar.
Yes, that is right. Avatar have landed here in Melbourne, and the first show is tonight. But Johannes, tell us a little bit about what it's like being in Australia. You've just woken up from a nap, so you're pretty heavily jet lagged. But what's it been like so far since you've arrived here?
I mean, it's been good. It's been nice. Now we are really in the dead center downtown Melbourne, and since most of my references that I hang up what Australia is to me on is Sorry to say, but Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
We had it recorded off of the TV on VHS tapes 1 and 2, which means that this looks like a run-of-the-mill big city skyscraper things. Actually, I did go for a morning walk, and your bird life is way more colorful also in the inner city. I'm delighted with that. What was the question?
Just what's it been like since you've been here? Like
it's been really good. It's been really nice. We've been out eating a couple of times and enjoyed it. But I mean, it's still so early and it's so bizarrely jet lagged. And because we come in for these shows, it's this boom, 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 go, go, go mentality, where to even register like, okay, what's Australian going on here except for all you guys talking funny is yet to be experienced,
Yeah. You talked You talked about getting a perception of Australia from watching movies like Crocodile Dundee. Yeah. What other Australian films have you seen? Because I know you're a little bit of a film lover. So has things like Wolf Creek made it across to you?
Sure, but the one that jumped to my mind thinking about this, because I have or now memory's fuzzy, but I used to have an insanely good, deep expertise in movie release between 2003 and 2005, because those are the years I worked outside of high school or equivalent of high school in a video rental store.
Yes, I did too. Yeah.
And there was this film about a struggling band. And I think this must have been Australia. Yeah, it was. And I don't remember the name of the film, but they are a struggling band, and they go through all these ups and downs trying to make it until they break in. At the end, they try acid and trip balls. One of them gets stuck in an AC/DC cover band, which I guess is the ninth circle of hell for an aspiring Australian musician. And I just. The film was alright, but what I really loved about it is that they break into a festival after breaking the guitar player out from a mental hospital and to, do a guerrilla performance on one of the stages. They're about to get kicked off. And the audience, let them play, Jim Morrison lives, someone chants. And then they play, and then it kind of sucked.
Yep. Is that Garage Days?
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
And I don't know why I think because watching it around times of just putting out demos, that idea of maybe we just suck, maybe we get that opportunity that people go, you know what, never mind. It's like, that left an impression. So
it's really funny how people get like different ideas about Australia, because I know a lot of people who have come here and they're expecting to see kangaroos and koalas in the main street of Melbourne, and it's like, no, it's a city.
Sweden has that thing with moose or polar bears, which is so I get that, but I think lots of places have one version or another of that. Then I don't know. Then I have actual friends who are from here, that live where I live.
Yeah.
So then there are nuances that comes through that anyway, and then I don't know. I'm interested in what's going on in mining lobbyism and how and always interested. But these are what's it called snake pits of a topic, and I'm not qualified to talk about. But every time when I get the opportunity to go to places where with a colonial past of any sort, the post-colonialism, I guess, is the grown-up word for how to deal with things.
Is interesting
to me, and my knowledge when it comes to what's happening right now today with Aboriginals or a national identity built around, the people who came here who thought they were the first people, although there were thousands and thousands and thousands of years of people here first, but they hardly were considered people. And now, hopefully, everyone is considered people. And what do we do now?
Yes.
That topic, like when I spent some time in Mexico or in Brazil and places like that, I'm interested. But there I don't know enough.
Yeah, exactly. And like we're just about heading into a referendum for a thing called The Voice. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that it would actually allow Indigenous Australians to have a better voice in Parliament. So the country's really divided at the moment because you've got the far right coming out and saying, let's vote no. And you've got everybody else saying, let's vote yes. So kind of a divided country at the moment.
So like the rest of us.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like the Northern Hemisphere on topics such as that. Yeah. No, but so that's something I like to because I think that's how we solve those kind of things now. How we turn division into melting pots is important to figure out wherever we are.
Yeah.
And a lot of countries are their own microcosm. Is that how we say it in English?
Yeah.
Or something like that. With similar issue, because whoever I will sit down with, whichever country I will visit and sit down with someone and get into similar topics, will be like, we're really divided right now. Oh no shit, we all seem to be,
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Like, these days it's so sometimes hard to have an opinion when you're in the public spotlight. Like, we even find it with radio sometimes. If we make a comment on air, then we get the hate mail the next day from either side. I like to see myself as someone who's in the middle, so I get it from both sides normally. Is that difficult for you? Do you find that, like, sometimes if you have an opinion you have to kind of keep it off social media, or how do you find that side of being a musician in the public eye?
Let's see, things that I've been talking about that could have caused anything like this. Of course, the band's veganism. We are all tree-hugging carrot eaters. Has been no real issue at all. And the latest album deals with an atheist's love letter to spiritualism in the form of Satanism. Led to no issues at all. Then we never make or rarely have made songs that are proper political in the sense of, guess what, I voted for this election cycle, But on the last album, we had one, speaking of melting pots or, divide and stuff, where kind of the point of the song, Violence No Matter What, is that, we're sitting here at the conference table, and ideally, I want as many ideas as possible around that table. But there has to be a line somewhere, and one line that's kind of easy for me to draw is fascism. If you subscribe to that, whether you are aware of it or not because of your ignorance, you're the enemy of everything else worth trying to figure out. And putting that out, and then putting out, footage alongside that video that really directly shows our support for the protests that ongoing protests in Iran, led to 99.99% positive feedback. And then weird one, so you're woke now? Since when is not being a Nazi too woke for anyone? So
exactly.
So no, we don't have issues, and we are relatively outspoken sometimes, but then we really try to be, to the extent, like, I know activists, so what we're doing is not proper activism at all. It's just, we sometimes participate in conversations, and that's it. But in that, I feel like, until there's that line in the sand drawn. Before that, I feel like soft diplomacy with where we stand and what we believe in, with the position that we're in as entertainers, seems to, make people gravitate to at least be open-minded about what we're about, more so than if we would be more hardline us and you know.
Yeah, yep.
So in that sense, I've seen very little of it.
Yeah.
But then again, we're not standing that much on the barricades.
Exactly, yeah.
In a sense, except saying like, hey, look, I ate all those carrots and lettuce and have a resting pulse around 50, so doing something right. You know, like, or whatever.
Yeah. It's funny, like the one that I copped the most for, which was kind of weird, was I volunteer with a group here in Australia called Wildlife Warriors, and we worked with different protected species of animals.
Yeah.
And we got involved with the palm oil debate about lobbying for some companies to not use palm oil anymore in their products.
Yeah.
And I suddenly had this guy on Facebook message me saying, I'm never going to listen to your show again. You're a tree-hugging hippie. And I'm like, really? Just because I'm helping animals and support? It was so weird.
Yes, because, okay, for first it's baffling to disagree with that. That is, it's baffling to disagree. In my opinion, that's a good thing you're involved with there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But then aside that's the line where you draw to, I can never listen to this person again. Because there I find myself, and now I'm trying to kind of force myself also, because I think we all have become a bit more like that, consciously or not. You know, like there's that sphere of people, you know, I don't even want to mention their name, but there's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
Right? I do think that obviously Andrew Tate belongs in a much more deeper, darker, burning pit than, for instance, Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
Although I see the issues over here with that fella as well on so many things.
Yeah.
But there has to be a difference.
Yeah.
And we cannot shut everything out all of the time for whatever a person says, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm trying to be a bit more tolerate for that again, and just also allow myself to be, when it comes to entertainment, to be entertained.
Exactly,
you know? And not take it too serious all the time, because I think that is, I don't know, if I look at old stuff I like, the leeway, I have a feeling that a bunch of the country musicians I listen to think very differently than I do on a lot of topics.
Same.
You know?
Yeah.
And I just can't live like that anymore, where, okay, can I only listen to myself now?
Yeah.
And I disagree with myself all the time also. So I can only listen to Avatar from the last 2 albums. Because I have learned something new and I have a current position. And then the next, Hunter Gatherer will fall out of my favor in time for whenever the next album comes out. Because then that's a concentration where I'm at right now. It becomes ridiculous.
And things change. Like I vote for a different political party now than what I did when I was 18 years old. So it's like, things change. So let's bring it back to the music. You're here in Australia. There's a lot of fans out there that are very, very excited about this tour. How excited are you guys to be able to get out there and do this tour in front of Australians?
To have that special moment of, and this is not exclusive to Australia per se, but now it's happening here, to go somewhere for the first time. That feeling of having something to prove, a bit of an underdog position. Excuse me. It's always very exciting. And that makes it very special. Then when people ask what to expect from an Australian audience as opposed to whoever else, there's always that feeling of like, well, we are part of a subculture, an art form that is truly global. And I think metal, more than a lot of things, like, I don't know, every country have their own rap stars and pop stars as well, but if you're not from the northwestern hemisphere, and especially when it comes to hip hop, if you're not, American or that one British person every 15 years or whatever, you're gonna be a local phenomenon. But in metal, the way metal, connects with whatever you come from and whatever you got in you, whatever music or culture you grew up with, and can blend with that, and then how that can have this incredible reach outside of where you are, that subculture crosses borders so much that a metalhead is pretty much a metalhead wherever you go. So, I don't think they're gonna be more boomerangs and in the mosh pit here just because it's Australia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just the freshness of that it's a new territory for us to make our own and begin and prove ourselves, that makes it very special.
Yeah. Do you also get that feeling like when you're coming to a country for the first time to play that there's going to be a lot of people in the audience that perhaps aren't as aware of your music as, say, fans in Scandinavia or Europe, because people bring a friend along and say, hey, come and check out this band. Is that something that you guys think about as well?
Well, because usually when you go somewhere for the first time, it's a festival or you're open for someone. Like with our first South American shows happened last year. Kind of good entry level we did because we started with 3 shows opening for Iron Maiden.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool.
Yep.
But that also means that really like we go on stage to play for strangers. And I'm sure now that that hopefully someone brought a friend, to see us for the first time as we're coming here. But that being said, these are headline shows.
Yep.
So it already feels like it's our people.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of waiting in a way.
Yep.
So it doesn't really apply to these circumstances, but it's also rare that we get to do it like this.
Yeah, definitely. Now I wanted to ask you about the Iron Maiden shows.
Sure.
They must have been absolutely crazy. And how did you feel being chosen to open for Iron Maiden?
It's incredibly special. I mean, I think there's probably in the constitution, if you are a Scandinavian metal band, that you have to have that, of our generation, that you had to have that Rock in Rio poster up in the rehearsal room. And the first trip we did as kids, once the band was formed and everything, was that we went to Stockholm to watch Iron Maiden when we were 15, 16 years old. And get an older friend who to buy us beers and hang in the park the day before and get all into all kinds of trouble and then see the show and one of our first bonding experiences and little adventures at the time, and then the heavy influence on our music, and that is the story of a lot of bands where we are from or wherever you're from. So that's special. The Swedish relationship to Iron Maiden is special. Then the Brazilian relationship to Iron Maiden is special. And our idea of that, we always knew there was that Brazil thing. Again, Rock in Rio and whatnot. So going there, and before the first show, we felt nerves in a way that we truly haven't since we were around that age of going to that show, our first few shows, that we really turned into teenage boys again.
Yeah.
And then once we pulled that first show off, for the other 2, I was pretty fine after that. Then comes that, but this half hour is my half hour, and that, all the things you have to feel. But for the first one, it was nerve-wracking, but in a good way, that you get to feel that. And then we got to stand, because the first show was in this quarry thing, so we stood on the edge of the quarry up in some tower, so the whole audience when Iron Maiden was on stage and heard them as much as we heard the music singing along. And the release of the nerves to play that show, and we succeeded, and it's Iron Maiden, and then they play Blood Brothers, which is our song, as far if Avatar was truly a marriage, that would have been what we would have had for the first dance on the wedding ceremony, you know. So we wept. So it was really special, and then of course we were treated incredibly well. The crew treated our crew incredibly well. You can stand on this, and you can walk here, and you can touch this, and everything is fine. Very, very generous with the time they gave us and everything, and then you're standing, and the production is there, so you're on Iron Maiden's stage, and I also realized I had the foot on the monitor, and I waved my arm around while singing away that. What am I doing? I kind of look over at my arm. Oh yeah, I'm Bruce. Okay, all right. And then I also wanted to run and jump across over some monitors and stuff, but I'm not as athletic as Dickinson and way taller, so I'm much more and Swedish, so I look like a moose out on a frozen lake, basically slipping around.
Yeah.
But no, it's just very special.
Yeah, definitely. Are there any other bands out there that you reckon you would get that same feeling where you feel like a little boy if you were sharing a stage with them?
Judas Priest is the first that comes to mind.
Yeah.
And that is also a band that my affection for them keeps on growing and growing every year. I mean, Black Sabbath aren't touring anymore, so but those kind of titans of those first decade and a half of metal, there I would find a lot of those where I would feel like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Australia, AC/DC was the first hard rock concert I went to and bought a ticket for when I was 14.
Wow.
So
yeah.
So that would be one. But I think Judas Priest tops the list because as much as I listen to them, I especially listen to them in situations that are connected to Avatar. When writing songs, I keep returning to Judas Priest so much nowadays and study it. And when it comes to, if those days I really need to get myself going, I always find footage before a show. I always go to that. There's a festival, I think it was in Dortmund in Germany, 82, 83. There was this festival. And again, Iron Maiden was there, Crocus was there, Michael Schenker Group, Judas Priest.
Yep.
And footage from that show, when you really need to push yourself, when you're particularly jet lagged, such as now, so they are so deeply connected with contemporary Avatar, classic Priest. So that, I think they top the list.
Awesome.
But there's a lot of that old school heavy metal that would do that.
Now, talking to the guys before you came in, I learnt that you and I have got something in common. We've both hurt ourselves when we've been doing video clips for something. So I broke my ribs when I was younger doing a short film.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you've done some injuries as well when you've been doing music video clips over the years.
Yeah, nothing too lasting or too serious. But like it's always, I mean, it's a very, what do you say? Well, it's a very DIY situation when we make our music videos. I mean, we have a little bit more to spend now, but what we can do ourselves, we do ourselves.
Yeah.
Cooler things are more affordable if you aren't too much of a diva about it, I guess.
Yeah.
And also, so it were always those things that, like the end of the Hail the Apocalypse music video, when I slam my fist on the floor and it's raining. Of course, there's no hot water in that building and it's dusty concrete floor. So, you just bruise yourself and stuff. Was called "This Smells Like a Freak Show" music videos. Also, we always have the ideas when it's kind of warm outside, and then when it's time to shoot, it's in the fall and it's always late at night, and you're stiff and frozen, and you're supposed to throw yourself on the ground. But I mean, the worst thing I contracted by shooting something is we sold a hot sauce a while back ago, and I did just this while doing the Avatar Country film. I drank a whole lot of it from a wine glass, and I did get a fever and other things.
Yep.
Ran straight through me, so I missed a day of shooting of that film due to it. But otherwise, physically,
I was told that there was one where you were hanging from some wires.
The flying stunts, and I mean, it did cut through the thighs and stuff, but I mean, nothing got infected, so I don't count that. I haven't broken anything my whole life, so that's good.
Definitely, yeah. So I guess we are running out of time very, very quickly. So to wrap up, what would you like to say to all of your Australian fans out there who are heading along to these shows over the next few nights?
Well, the fact that we are here for the very first time, and over these 3 shows that we already are hitting 4 digits in ticket sales is mind-blowing.
Yep.
That is not how it historically usually happens. You have to play for the people working the bar, and then you have to pay for 5 people who got lost in snowstorm and just came in to warm themselves, and then maybe you have 20 fans in Stuttgart, Germany for the 5 years, and then maybe you get to actually pay for paying on us. That we get to start like this, it means that we are coming here feeling already incredibly grateful. and
Awesome.
that's it. And we are gonna make it worth their while, because
Awesome.
that's what we do.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for
Well, thank
taking
you.
the time to chat to Subculture After Dark today. Pleasure having you on, and we can't wait to hear some new music from you guys in the future as well.
Oh yeah, working on it. Thank you.